Unless you've been in the military, you may never understand what the people who have served have gone through.
That's why one veteran is sharing his story. It's tonight's Eye on KELOLAND. Summer Roddershot tells us how we can now read about his experiences.
Jeff West went into the Army in 1967. It wasn't long before that journey took him overseas.
I spent a year as a drill sergeant at Fort Ord in Monterey, California. And at the end of that year, I volunteered for Vietnam. And I landed in Cam Ranh Bay in December of 1968 and spent a wonderful Christmas in Vietnam. And that began my combat tour. And I came home on December 5th, 1969.
But like many veterans, what happened overseas took a toll on West. So while in therapy for PTSD, West started to write down what happened to him.
So I had these stories, and a couple years later I thought maybe I should write down the rest of what happened to me when I was in the Army. So my friends and family, mostly family, would understand a little bit more about me and why I am the way I am.
However, with some encouragement, West turned those stories into his first book, Welcome Home, The Army and My Vietnam. This book documents West's 2 years of active duty.
It's not a battle book. I don't talk much about that. I talk about all the other things that we endure. And so it's just kind of a generalized history, but accurate and pretty well researched about Vietnam overall.
His second book was born out of a South Dakota Humanities Council veterans story writing contest that he won, where he then got to go to a writing class.
It was a class about poetry, which I hate. And I told the guy, I said, I don't like poetry. It takes too much work, right?
But he was soon inspired.
I'm riding my lawnmower and thinking about poetry and Vietnam and whatnot, and I conceived a poem in my brain about my best friend Alex, and got off the mower and wrote it. In the end, 50 were killed or wounded. My friend was hit, a bullet through his head. He wanted to live and survived a week, but after all was done, he was dead. I wasn't there. I didn't have his back. So in the mud at my feet, his friendship lies.
West's book, Looking Back, An Old Soldier's Hindsight, continues to describe the aftermath of Vietnam and some of the mental health complications that came with it. Now, West has finished writing his third book, Vietnam, The War That Keeps Killing.
I belong to several groups that are about Agent Orange and the effects of Agent Orange on exposed Vietnam veterans and the Vietnamese community, of course. And there was so much misinformation and inaccurate information, and I just decided I'm going to research this, and so I can answer some of these questions accurately.
West believes these books are important to document what he and so many others went through in Vietnam.
I think that most people really today, if you're not 50 years old or so, don't have any real concept about the Vietnam War. They don't teach anything in school anymore about the Vietnam War. What I've written is a history, really, of things from a single, old grunt's perspective, but I think it gives people a chance to understand about what we went through and why.
And when people read the books, West hopes people see that he himself was just a kid.
We were called up by our country, and we went out and we did what we were trained to do. We were not celebrated when we came home, and that really was a big issue for almost all Vietnam vets.
With Eye on KELOLAND, I'm Summer Roddershot.
West's newest book, Vietnam, The War That Keeps Killing, is set to come out by the end of July.
We have posted links to his other books under this story on KELOLAND.com.